All right, hello, and welcome to the commentary between BSplitt and SmoothJimmyApollo. It looks like his cards. Will be hitting this game. So let's talk about this board. All right, so biomedical engineering, please. Industrial engineering, where it's at. All right, so SmoothJimmyApollo opened with a Magpie. BSplitt has a 2-5 and opened with a Cellar. Okay, don't mind that. I probably would have slightly gone for a ride. It allows you to hit 5 more likely on your second time around. And what do we got here? We've got Hermit, which is good for gaining basically silvers, but also trashing estates. Haggler's a really good card for extra gains. Really good to perhaps go Haggler into stables and you get a Magpie for free. Um, Jester is a decent attack because Jester, it's okay. There is trashing here with Forge. Forge is a pretty expensive trasher, but it does exist. Kiln, there's no village here, so Kiln cannot get you extra actions. I don't particularly like Kiln. So actually there is a village here, but it's Prince Magpie. Pardon me. Is the village here. And so I think it might be worth getting. But even then, it only ups your terminal slots to 2. Interesting. So BSplitt opens with Cellar Academy. I didn't see Academy, so Academy is going to be a way to play more than one terminal at once. Um, I don't, I don't dislike that. That seems okay. I still like a Hermit pickup. I like Stables is the only real draw here, consistent. Unless you're planning on going full Magpie money, which they might be. I'd probably buy a Hermit here, start trashing those estates, and you see BSplitt does. No idea what SmoothJimmyApollo has in hand. So, um, previously they bought a Magpie. Now they hit 5. Might consider doing a Stables here. Might consider an Academy. Yep, they do go with the table Stables. I think that's a good draw. BSplitt, the Cellar is kind of a dead card at this moment. With 4, he could attempt to cycle to his Hermit. Um, if he knows what that card is, which it is an estate. Um, so BSplitt knows he has an estate on the bottom if he's been tracking his deck. So if he wants to buy something for 3 here, he might have considered cycling that out. Now it appears he did want to buy a Magpie for 4, and so that was a good call to not cycle it out. Um, so here SmoothJimmyApollo is able to hit 6 and buys an Academy as well. Here BSplitt got a good collision with the Hermit and Estates, so he's going to get to trash an estate with the Hermit. I'd probably strongly consider getting another Hermit. Um, okay, so we have a pizza break. But here, I would hope, if it were me, I would strongly consider trashing the estate with the Hermit, obviously, gaining a Hermit and spending the 2 to buy a ride or nothing. But ride seems better than nothing. Ride is gain a horse, which isn't fancy, but it's specifically not a card. And so the Hermit, if you don't buy any cards this turn, trash and gain a Magman, And so he was able to get a Hermit back and get a Madman, which will really spike a future hand that BSplitt has, potentially enough to get him up to 8 if he's interested in going the Prince Magpie route for multiple terminals. Potentially up to 7 if he's interested in doing a lot of trashing all at once, which on this board I'm less interested. I'm less like desperate for Forge because of the fact that there's good copper synergy with Stables and Magpie. Magpie becomes a lab if the second card is a treasure, which coppers are. Stables required to treasure to discard for it to be able to actually draw. So I'm less enthusiastic about Forge, mildly enthusiastic about Prince. Now, is there any plus buy on this kingdom? No, there is not. So if I'm either player, the next time, well, um, if I'm BSplitt, the next time I hit 5, I'm probably leaning towards Stables. If I already have one Stables, if I'm SmoothJimmyApollo, I'm probably leaning towards Haggler. Doing a quick mic check. Looks like I'm good in recording. Because Haggler early is going to be able to get you Stables and Magpies. And so it's a much better investment early. Now, Magpies is a file that tends to run because, of course, they gain themselves. But later you can transition into buying gold and Stables. Because you want that Stables for draw and you want the gold for economy. And Haggler enables you to get both if you can get up to 6. It's pretty good. Haggler seems like definitely the best terminal on this board if I only have space for one terminal. Again, I could go for Prince, and I could build space for 2 terminals. If I have 2 terminals, I'm probably most interested in uh, a second Haggler almost. I mean, honestly, I'm not really thrilled by any of these terminals on this board. Perhaps it's a Kiln. Kiln can gain me golds pretty cheaply. Kiln can gain, but they can't gain me. Well, if I have 2 actions because I've Prince to Magpie, then Kiln can start gaining me Stables. But I feel like this whole thing is just too slow. I'm curious if the players have that on or off. My guess is that it's off because it just says message spectators, but I thought I'd send that anyway, just in case. Um, so yeah, honestly, I don't think the Prince is worth it. I think it's too slow. Um, Without enough payoff, and with no plus buy, yeah, I mean, Forge is going to be the only way to potentially gain 2. Okay, so here we go. We're back to the thing. He gains a silver instead of a hermit, and please buy a ride. And he gets a ride. Nice. So I like the hermit there over the silver because you want a hermit in your deck to continue to trash those estates. Silver is a good card, so it's not like it's game losing or anything. But the hermit's really good, and you no longer have the hermit. You no longer have a hermit, and a hermit's really good. Here's SJA hits 4 again, and they continue to buy the Magpies. I don't mind that. I would like to see them buy a hermit for the same reasons that I liked it when BSplitt did. Okay, BSplitt hits 5 here. I would definitely grab a Stables. And he does. SJA. Um, just getting the rest of the Magpies. Definitely has a lot of money in hand. 7 in hand. May consider the Forge. If the Forge would make sense, especially if they were considering skipping Hermit. They decide to go for gold, so it looks like they're definitely just going for Magpie money here. And Magpie money is not bad. But I like adding the haggler as your terminal because it allows you to get more than one piece at a time. Otherwise, you're limited by the one buy the entire game. You can honestly get a couple hagglers with the villagers from Academy because you can consistently play them both because pretty much every turn you'll be using two terminals, which requires one villagers, and you will be gaining always pretty much a stables or something until they run out. So both players have skipped Haggler so far. Wow. Okay, so we'll talk about the Prince play in a second. Um, both players actually have yet to invest in any terminals aside from Hermit and aside from Prince. And so it seems odd and useless in a way to have invested in Academy. So far, neither player has used a villager. Neither player has the ability to use a villager, and I would honestly much if they're going to skip Haggler, if they're going to skip the terminals, I would have rather seen the Academy be a stables. So here SJA is drawing really well. They had 11 that turn. They bought a gold. Magpie Money is good. It's a good baseline deck. So BSplitt doesn't get that collision, which isn't too particularly likely given how few Magpies BSplitt has. The Prince can pretty much only collide with a Magpie, and uh, and perhaps Seller. Perhaps BSplitt would be willing to do that with Seller, which would give him the extra action, so either would be okay. Here, I know it's tempting to buy a Magpie because your Prince is sitting all by itself, but I would still recommend a Stables or a Haggler. Again, neither player that is trying to use the terminal space, which is useful. Which is very useful. Okay, so BSplitt does go for Stables. Again, neither player can use a villager yet. So perhaps they will start terminals now. Now, don't get me wrong, draw is always good. It's good to have deck control. SJA seems to have a really strong strategy in mind of going for money and seems to be executing it just fine. I'd expect this to be a silver. Be pleasantly surprised if it was a hermit. It is indeed a silver. Um, SJ is probably about at the point where anytime he draws a 8, he's going to consider buying a province. Here, BSplitt gets 6. Again, gold is not what he needs at the moment, in my opinion, because he's trying to get that Prince collision. So he probably needs extra draw, or he could consider buying a Haggler, which I'm going to get off the Haggler train. Clearly, both players will be ignoring it. But BSplitt does go ahead and buy a gold. It's it's not a bad card. Gold is an okay card, but at this point, BSplitt has to build bigger than SJA, who already has the Magpie money advantage. And to do that, how is BSplitt going to do that? Well, they're going to Prince and set aside a Seller or a Magpie. They're going to be able to play double terminals, and they're going to be able to draw their entire deck and have good deck control. But BSplitt's not actually doing that. By buying that gold, you're seeding that you're going to play the same strategy as your opponent, which in this case is Magpie Money, without as many Magpies and with one more stables. And it's and perhaps well we'll find that it's not going to be good enough here. So this game has already been decided. Um, but he does get to set aside the Magpie. And here I'd probably consider buying a Haggler. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Probably should be Haggler, but it will probably be Stables again. Which Stables is fine. Draw is good. Buys a Jester. Jester might be okay. If Jester sends curses to SJA as he starts to green, that's fantastic. Curses do not synergize with magpies. Um, if there are additional coppers, it's not great for SJA, so I don't mind the Jester. At this point in the game, I really don't mind the Jester at all. But here you see BSplitt hit 7. That's not good enough. Might consider, um, again, a Stables or a Haggler. It's a little late for the Forge. BSplitt is just very behind. And so while I don't think this game is going to end in the next 10 turns, I think it's going to be a longer game. It feels like this game is already decided because there is no plus buy. There's no terminals that can really swing as far as gaining additional victory cards in a turn, except for Forge. So it might be wise for BSplitt to invest in that. But with BSplitt already just buying a duchy there, um, it's decided. He's greening up his deck. Magpie money is just stronger than less Magpie, less money. And so SJ has this in the bag. All right, so I've heard the theoretical half points is when you cannot win on a non-alternate point VP board is, I don't remember. So let's calculate it up. So there's 8 provinces, which are worth 6, plus 8 duchies, plus 8 estates, and 6 starting estates between the 2 players. So that is 86 total points. If you have 44 points or more, you're guaranteed to have won the game. That's good to know. SJA is already halfway there. BSplitt here can buy a province. I missed it earlier, but SJA had 7 and bought a gold. I don't hate that because they are up enough. But at some point, they should definitely invest in a duchy to give them a 7-point advantage. So the next time they fail to hit 8, I really want to see SJA, whether it's 6 or 7, I really want to see SJA buy a duchy. So they hit 5 here. I'm expecting to see a duchy. Buys a kiln. So this is the first terminal for SmoothJimmyApollo. Um, and it comes in turn 14. So that's a bit late. But the kiln might get to playoff once, maybe twice. Yep, the Jester got a curse. That's exactly what you want to see. First time the Jester hit a Magpie, and nothing could happen there, so that was a bummer. But that's what you're wanting if you're BSplitt, to send a curse your opponent's way. It looks like he was able to... Oh, he didn't even have to use a villager there. All right, and so with the curse given and the duchy gained, BSplitt is tied. Now you'll notice that SmoothJimmyApollo hit 11, which is really good. And when he hit 5 previously, it was just the shuffle because there's a lot of green cards in his deck. I feel like it would have been stronger to have bought the duchy then, and then he would be sitting at a 9-point advantage over a 6. Both decks are clogged, and so you want to be the one that is in control. Because if you're forced to do the duchy dancing with no plus buy, it's going to really put you on the back foot. It's basically impossible. So here, if SmoothJimmyApollo is able to buy the province or the duchy, um, then SmoothJimmyApollo is in a really, really good seat. And again, uh, oh, and this is a province. So, yeah, this is pretty much going to do it with no plus buy. It's possible BSplitt might be able to curse again. Nice. So it's a 10-point difference. BSplitt already has enough money in hand for a duchy. Could consider stopping there instead of drawing on. It depends on if he feels like the rest of his deck is better or worse. And given that he only has 2 green cards in hand, his next hand is going to be full of green. Yep, and there's 4 green. So I don't know. I may have considered not drawing on there. It's it's not great. Um, anyway, so SmoothJimmyApollo is just looking for 8, doesn't find it, but buys a duchy, which is just insurance at this point. There's very little BSplitt can actually do, but this is good to cycle those green cards away. Unfortunately, it's still only enough for 3, which means this will be an estate, but likely BSplitt will be able to hit province next turn. Not that it's going to help, because the game will be over and he will have lost. So it's interesting because, like I said at turn 11, the game, we are now in turn 18. And I said that at that point the game was still 10 turns away, but it's already been decided. Um, it feels like this is very true. So here, SmoothJimmyApollo didn't get a good one, 9 points up. Buys a silver, which I'm a little bit surprised by. Given that he's 9 points up, it's fine. It's fine. Maybe it'll help him close the game out sooner. That's something that's underrated amongst advanced players. They're like, this is the time to green, and so I'm going to keep greening, and I'll just wait for a good draw. Um, what are the odds that it's going to see that silver? It's exactly the same as if he's going to see that estate, but it's possible that silver will push him up enough. SJA is noticing that Academy is a waste, which is very true. Neither player decided to invest in terminals. Yep. Academy is very strong, but yeah, unfortunately, neither player decided to invest in it. And I would expect this to be a duchy. BSplitt's going to get a silver, so that's cool. And have enough to buy an estate. Might be considering buying a silver. I don't really see it. Actually, there is a way to gain extra greens. It's transmute, everyone. You can trash an action card to get a duchy. Totally forgot. Can't disrespect the transmute, but yeah, it's not a good card. And I expect this to be an estate. Could be a silver. He's at an 8-point lead right now. I'd like that to be a 9-point lead. Okay, yeah, buys an estate. And buys a potion. Yep, ready for the transmute in 2 shuffles of the deck. There's no way BSplitt is ever going to get the transmute off. Mark my words. But revealing a gold and having 6 cards in hand with a gold is very good. And that's enough for the win. So 21 turns for a game that was decided 10 turns ago because SJA executed Magpie Big Money very, very well. So well done. All right, so no, it did not work. All right, so SJA is electing to keep the cards private, which is not that big of a deal. Um, it only kind of hurts SJA because if they're making decisions, I can't evaluate their decision making process. All right, so let's look at this board. So we've got Fairgrounds, which can be worth, let's see. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Easily 16, easily 3. So this is easily worth 6 points. SJA opens with a sacrifice. BSplitt opens with a peasant and a sacrifice. I like it. I think. Well, what do I want to do on this board? So teachers is obviously really strong. Disciples obviously really strong. Sucks that there's a collision here for BSplitt. But it happens. I like the opening. I like the opening. So if I'm either player... Oh, interesting. BSplitt decides to play the peasant over the sacrifice. I think that's okay. Probably going to buy a silver here. Yep. I think that's okay. Um, yeah, so what do I really want to teach her? I guess I want to teach her a laboratory, perhaps, and that'll get my draw going. But there's also rebuild on this board, and I think rebuild is a pretty strong card. I don't know if it's strong enough to beat a good cycle with peasants and teachers. Ooh, this is a interesting draw for BSplitt. Would probably rather spread it out a little bit. SmoothJimmyApollo also bought a silver. Hits 3 again. Probably going to consider silver. Yeah. The only reason yeah. Okay. So here, BSplitt's obviously going to play that, and he'll have 7. Might consider a rebuild if he wants to go for the rebuild strategy. The sacrifice makes the rebuild strategy a bit less attractive. If they were going for that, they probably should have avoided opening sacrifice. Not the worst, because sacrifice will also trash coppers, and trashing coppers is good. But its main advantage is trashing victory cards, turning 1 points into 2. That's where it's the strongest anyway. Um, there's also Windfall and Lost Arts here, so there's plenty of actions to go around. Yeah, if I'm BSplitt, if I'm playing this game, I'm thinking get a teacher, get a bunch of labs, uh, draw my whole deck, and buy Windfall to get all my economy that I need, and consistently double province. So I don't know if that's what BSplitt's thinking. With 3, I'm probably buying another peasant here, playing the sacrifice, trash, and estate. BSplitt, or excuse me, SJA bought a silver. Yeah, 3 here, I'm definitely buying a peasant because I want more disciples. Disciples are great because they're an incredibly powerful card. You play the lab twice and you get a copy of it. So I would like multiple disciples, please. And so here, BSplitt, I would recommend buying a peasant. Maybe that last silver should have bought a peasant as well. Interestingly enough, BSplitt avoids the peasant and goes for candlestick maker. I think that's not bad if he's planning on using the candlestick maker to split up and buy more peasants. But otherwise, I don't like that. Otherwise, I don't like that at all. As I want to get those travelers up to teacher, up to disciple, and windfall for my economy. Here, SJA hits 7. Buys a gold. Gold is okay. Um, I don't think you have to worry about it too much. I honestly would rather see a lab there, but it's so tempting when. So here, it's so tempting when you have that to spend efficiently. Here, I would. There's no real good thing to do here, except probably discard the estate. Well, this gives you more copper. All right. So whether BSplitt discards a coffer. Oh, I very much disagree with that. It's okay. Um, it's the same. Oh, unfortunately, the disciple hits by itself, which is just a bad shuffle. SJA gets to play as one laboratory, gets to play as fugitive. Gets to sacrifice an estate. Buys a laboratory. Laboratories are really good. We'll see here if BSplitt decides to play his disciple bear, and he does. That's super unfortunate. That's going to set him back a lot. Is I don't think there's anything BSplitt could have done save buy more peasants instead of silvers, and but even then, that's only one card. It's just unfortunate. But BSplitt does go ahead and get their teacher. Wow, SJA also had the same thing happen to him. That's crazy. Okay, so here BSplitt's going to sacrifice a copper and buy a laboratory. Might consider buying a gold. I hope he does not. Laboratory is going to be very, 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 very good. And again, there's windfall here. If your deck and discard piles are empty, gain 3 golds. So here, BSplitt is hopefully going to be able to draw to his teacher, or is hopefully going to be able to draw to his, I forget what it's called, sacrifice. Hopefully he wants to see one of those terminals here. Might be lagging. Okay, so he gets to see one of those terminals, which is good. He'll play the Candlestick Maker, trash the Sacrifice, and he'll have 7, and I would expect that to be a laboratory. It could be Laboratory Peasant, which I would like a lot. Because Disciples, and this is true, are really good. Definitely prefer Peasant over Candlestick Maker here. Nice, and that's what BSplitt gets. Unfortunately, the Teacher is the last card. Not that big of a deal. He'll be guaranteed to play it this turn because he has the Laboratory in hand. SJA is hoping to get a Laboratory. I don't exactly know what the split is here because I think BSplitt has 5. It's possible BSplitt has 6. BSplitt is over terminal, which is not that big of a deal. But there probably will be collision. I still think that it's best for BSplitt to put the plus card on laboratory and then use windfall to gain all of the economy that he needs. But we will see. All right, the laboratories are gone. Disciples are slightly less appealing, but still pretty appealing. All right, so there's the teacher. BSplitt definitely wants to get this down. Nice. Didn't even have a terminal collision. Here, if I'm BSplitt, I'm thinking buy a couple peasants. Probably not. I'm thinking buy a candlestick maker and a peasant. Oh, he's buying Lost Arts and putting in plus an action token. Okay, okay. Well, how does that work with teacher? Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! That doesn't work with teacher now. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! BSplitt cannot put plus card on laboratory, which means BSplitt cannot get to windfall. Oh no! This is truly devastating. This is truly devastating for BSplitt. Given that BSplitt is called the teacher and is not doing anything, he is probably realizing that now. Yeah. Yeah. Here, BSplitt he's got plenty of action, so he needs to thin. I might actually consider a sacrifice here and maybe a gold, but maybe use the coffer and do sacrifice province. Maybe go sacrifice candlestick maker, but I think they still need to thin. Province candlestick maker, I mean, it might be okay, but BSplitt is going to have a really tough time doubling for a while. And it might still be good enough. Unlike the previous game, this game has definitely not been decided. Although if SJA gets to put their card on teacher, excuse me, their teacher with a plus card on laboratory, it's going to be very strong. So this is going okay. So I'd expect BSplitt to go province candlestick maker here. And he's saving up to double province. Never mind, he just spent all four. I don't like that. Why does he need a gold? Okay, so if I'm analyzing this game, I'm thinking, why do I need a gold? I need a gold to hit my price points, and my price points at this stage of the game are 8, 16, and 24. Well, I know that I'm not going to consistently hit 16. That last turn, it looked like I hit 10, I believe. Yeah. So, and I just lost to economy. So I'm going to basically be able to consistently hit 8 with my money. I'm going to bank with candlestick makers to where I could hit 16 once, and then I'm not going to get anywhere close to 24. And so buying a gold does not get BSplitt any closer to that 24 money mark, and it just makes him unlikely to close the game out after buying one more province, which BSplitt could be able to do right now. And he is able to buy one more province, which is good. Hopefully BSplitt does not spin the coffer, and he spins the coffer. So now SJA is most likely going to be able to buy exactly one province because I don't believe they have any plus buy, which is good for BSplitt. But BSplitt has willingly given up his opportunity to double province in the next turn and just win the game. And BSplitt is likely still going to be able to win because first player advantage, and they will force SJA to do duchy dancing without having any plus buy, which is just, it's not going to work. Um, oh, here SJA could buy windfall. But not that that would particularly help. Um, yeah, so BSplitt again gave up his opportunity to win the game here, but is still in a really, really good position. Could, I guess, technically win the game. Maybe he can get his way up to 16. I don't think so, but possible, I guess. I haven't been, but I mean, if you had 9 coffers at this moment, I would definitely feel a lot more comfortable. So let's see, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 15. One coffer short. One coffer short. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Poor BSplitt. Um, it's all good, of course, because BSplitt is going to be able to play the sacrifice, trash a copper, still have a very thin deck for buying a province and a duchy if they would like, or yeah, a province and a duchy closes out the game just as well as 2 provinces. So the only thing I wouldn't recommend here is province windfall. Well, yeah, I believe they just go to your discard. Yeah, because you just need to hit 8 again, so it's not really worth it to have all those golds. Although if you have all those golds, you're probably going to hit 8 again. I just feel like province duchy locks out the game over anything else. So man, those 7 coppers that disappeared to become a couple of candlestick makers and a gold. 6 coffers became a gold. Why? Okay. Um, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 with the teacher. I mean, so that was worth 4 points. Yeah, okay, that's fine. I hate that you used 3 coffers for it because now what if you hit a hand with only 5 money? It's not particularly likely, but you know, could have had 3 coffers. Anyway, as this is not saying that BSplitt did not have the better strategy here. BSplitt definitely did, going for those lamps. It was a bit unfortunate that the lost arts didn't work, but waiting to build the payload from Windfall was probably what BSplitt was thinking, and was definitely the right strategy, the winning strategy on this board. Um, BSplitt could have won the game sooner, but BSplitt's going to win the game, so so that's good for him. Yeah, they split the lab split 5-5. Oh, all that money and nowhere to go. Yeah, 17. That's a 17 cost duchy. It hurts. It hurts my soul. Oh, disciple! Disciple the lab! No! Disciple the candlestick maker. I mean, it's probably going to be good enough. Yeah, it's going to be good enough, but oh, that hurt. Okay, that's enough. Keep going. Okay, he's just going to keep going. Okay. All right. BSplitt takes that one. All right. So yeah, definitely better strategy identified. Good execution. Definitely not a close game in any way. I'm sorry. Um, it wasn't. I should qualify that. So it wasn't a close game because SJA never invested in plus buy, and so despite the 17 money that they can consistently get on every turn, they couldn't. They couldn't do anything with it. I mean, basically they had 9 too much money, which was 2 extra golds, I guess. Anyway, yeah, BSplitt realizing the interaction there of what teacher says. Yeah, yep, it's an interesting one. I haven't seen it before, but it is definitely what the text says. If there's, you can only put a a token on something with no other tokens on it. All right, fun stuff. Okay, so we've got Way of the Butterfly Throne Room, which is awesome. You can literally play an action card and then return an action card and gain one better than it. So it's similar to actually, yeah, Way of the Butterfly. It doesn't quite turn Throne Room into Procession, but it's close. It's close. All right, let's see what we got here. So we've got no villages. We've got Bishop for trashing. No real way to gain extra high cost things to make Bishop your win condition as far as points go. We've got villages from Fishing Village, which is a really good village. We've got Warehouse for good cycle. Watchtower, which is actually probably the best draw on this board. It's not bad, but your max hand size is always going to be 7. I don't love Treasure Trove here because actually I love Treasure Trove here. Yeah, okay, never mind. So Treasure Trove is pretty good because you can get golds which work for bishops. Um, Fishing Village. I actually think there is a board here for going with a bunch of fishing villages, bishops, treasure troves, trashing all your golds. But I don't think either player is going to do that. But I'm going to make a note that I think this would be a fun game to play um, that way. So here BSplitt has 3. I would expect BSplitt to open with a um, silver. BSplitt does not. He opens with a warehouse. Really, really, really dislike the warehouse opening. It's bad. It's bad to put it bluntly. So warehouse is a card that is basically seller in that you lose 1 hand size. So you play it, you draw 3 cards, and then you discard 3 cards, and so now you have a 4-card hand. And BSplitt has opened Throne Room Warehouse. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! This is uh, questionable openings to put it at the least. SJA also buys a Throne Room with 1 action. I really don't like that either. Throne Rooms are good cards, but at least Throne Room with a villain makes sense. Throne Room with a warehouse does not make sense. So as BSplitt is finding out right now, maybe BSplitt might be considered returning the Throne Room while using Where the Butterfly and getting a villain. And he does. I like that a little bit better. Actually, can he get a treasure trove? Oh, he could get a treasure trove. He might be considering a treasure trove. It takes an apprentice. Really don't like the apprentice here. The apprentice is a trasher, but you would draw per 1 it cost. So your coppers draw you nothing. Your straights draw you 2. So it's really good if you can gain a whole bunch of silvers because you can trash a silver and draw 3. It's not terrible with the treasure trove because you can gain a bunch of extra golds, but honestly, I'd rather just trash with bishop. Yeah, if you'll notice on the board that five of the cards have been bought once, technically Throne has been bought twice, or taken. That's a sign that people don't really know what strategy they're planning on using yet. Um, Here, BSplitt avoids making the shuffle. Now we have six unique cards taken. No one's taken a fishing village yet, which is a really, really strong village. This is just a weird game already. Honestly, honestly, I think a player would have been better served to just buy a bunch of money and go big money. There's very little forced interaction aside from villain. So anyway, yep, looks like SJA is transitioning into a money thing. Just got two silvers. Both players are ignoring bishop and ignoring treasure trove and ignoring fishing village. Um, BSplitt's pretty terminal limited. It's just kind of odd to me. Like the one thing that I identified as, oh, this might actually be the best strategy on this board, which is bishop treasure trove. Um, it's just completely ignored, and it makes me question if it was actually a good idea. I think it is though. So here, BSplitt's going to get to draw a little bit. Ooh, should definitely play the warehouse first. He'll get to draw it all back. Throne Room Watchtower doesn't do anything special, unfortunately, except for get one more card out of said hand. Okay. Here I might strongly consider Treasure Trove or Villain. Although BSplitt is pretty terminal limited. And buys another apprentice. BSplitt's about to see the downfall of an apprentice. SJA buys a fishing village. Fishing villages are good. Returns an apprentice, gets a gold. Okay, maybe that's the good side of apprentice, I guess. Weird game, guys. This is a weird. So here, BSplitt's going to get to uh, probably apprentice estate and then throne room the warehouse. Except that plan just went out the window with the villain being played. Okay, yeah, that's fine. I would have rather throne room the warehouse so that way BSplitt could have played two terminals. Um, BSplitt could be considering throne rooming the apprentice. Yeah, throne rooming the apprentice would have been really strong. Could have been able to trash two estates and draw four cards. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But BSplitt draws all money anyway. And given the course of this game, I would expect BSplitt to buy a gold. So it looks like SJA had the throne room with all money collision, which is not too surprising given the money emphasis, and is able to return it to get something, a villain, which is fine, and buy a gold. It's fine. It's fine. Here, BSplitt has Terminal collision. Probably going to buy a gold here. Road network's pretty good. Definitely the next time either player hits 5, I would recommend hitting the road network. This is pretty interesting collision here. BSplitt could actually consider Throne Room Apprentice and then Way of the Butterfly the Apprentice. Choose to trash 2 coppers, that's okay. Here BSplitt should get to... BSplitt could have discarded the estate and chose to discard the throne room. That seems questionable at best. SJA is all decided to start greening. BSplitt's probably considering a gold here. Road network is again a pretty good investment. Buys the road network, I like it. Villain here is probably going to take out the... Ooh, yikes. BSplitt's deck is just not good. It's not good. So there is synergy here. There's an the interesting line is to get treasure trove, to draw with apprentices, trash with bishop, and trash golds for an infinite amount of points, and basically the person who goes for green is just not going to make it. Interestingly enough, there SJA bought a gold instead of a road network. BSplitt may be considering trashing the bard. Decides to keep the bard. Decides to buy a guide. Guide's okay, I guess. Here's SJA might consider spending all the coffers for a province. Buys a throne room. Okay, I don't really love it, but why not, I guess. Warehouse. Probably discards a bard and 2 coppers. Apprentices the estate is the line I would go with. Intending to draw with the watchtower. BSplitt's really thin, but he doesn't have a ton of economy. He has 3 golds, which is not a ton of economy. I definitely like SJA's deck better, even though it is just super money. But I still think it's pretty much anyone's game. Here, BSplitt's probably considering the warehouse. Wow. That was really lucky. BSplitt. Oh, wait, you can still play the warehouse. Okay. Yep. Ah. All right, good draw for BSplitt. Here I would definitely consider playing the warehouse as BSplitt because I know the rest of my cards are bad, and so I want to go through them. So the reason I like SJA's deck and position here is because of these coffers. That being said, I don't believe SJA has any plus buy. Not that there's any plus buy on this board. Ah, but that'll work as plus buy. That's pretty interesting. Wow, those two cards really didn't help BSplitt. Really didn't help BSplitt. BSplitt here probably could consider trashing the apprentice, or excuse me, playing the apprentice to trash the watchtower to draw 3 cards, and doing the same action, returning the bard to a duchy. Okay, okay. Yep. So throne room the bard. Might consider playing the. I would not play the warehouse here because that's fine. I guess he only drew 2 coppers, so he actually just um, set a gold on top, which is going to be helpful. Wave the butterfly him. Gain the duchy and buy a province. Looks good from BSplitt. Oh wait, it does not look good for BSplitt. That is not enough to actually get over the threshold. So this has got to be another duchy. Yeah, that's unfortunate. So here, SJA probably has enough for province, but needs to send a 4 cards back to get a duchy to feel really comfortable with it. Might just risk it anyway. Nice, that looks good for BSplitt. Oh, that's only 7. BSplitt may have considered discarding another copper instead of the estate, but I mean, still, it only draws 2. Um, that's tough. It's only 7. And with SJA guaranteed province on the next turn, this doesn't look good for BSplitt. Could consider trashing a gold and draw 6 cards. He does have enough money. If he draws another gold and a copper, which he does have available, it's basically the only play left to BSplitt. Oh, he drew it! He drew it! The madman has done it! Oh, this is why you play Dominion, folks. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Legendary. Legendary. Look at the next 5 cards. It's total garbage. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He did it. Oh my gosh. Incredible. Incredible. Incredible, folks. Incredible. That is why you play the game. Whew. Oh my gosh, that was incredible. Ah, SJA. I'm hoping you get to watch this commentary because that was. Look at this. He has exactly eight money in his entire to his name, and he managed to draw it. That was the only option he had because SJA was guaranteed a province next turn. Oh my gosh, what a game. What a game. Wow. BSplitt got lucky. Incredible. Incredible game. Incredible. All right. We've got fishing villages. We've got cargo ships. We've got recruiters for trashing. We've got moneylenders for trashing with benefit. We've got Den of Sins for drawing. We've got Devil's Workshop for drawing. We've got Advisors for drawing. Whoa, do we have plus buy? Yes, sir. We've got capital. Okay. So, it seems like I'm not interested in barracks because there's plenty of villages here. Um, it seems like I probably want to open Moneylender cargo ship, perhaps. Could be persuaded to go Moneylender fishing village. The goal being to hit 5 and buy a recruiter, then start buying a whole bunch of Dens of Sins until I can consistently draw my deck. Some point in there, pick up a capital and start going ham on all them sweet, sweet golds. But maybe an advisor when I hit 4. Nice, I like the fishing village opening. I think Moneylender fishing village is going to be strong. Nice. That's exactly the opening I would have done. So after some questionable openings, that is exactly the opening I would have done from BSplitt. And they both copy it. So nice. All right, here I've hit 4, and I'm thinking Advisor over Devil's Workshop. Imps aren't bad, but they're not great on this board. I've got plenty of draw. Um, and Fishing Villages stay in play. I'd probably go with an Advisor here. But if they went Devil's Workshop, I wouldn't be shocked. The only real wrong move is Moneylender. Fishing Village, it's okay. Unfortunately, that's back. Oh no, for the Fishing Village is in place, so BSplitt will hit 5 here. I'm expecting BSplitt to buy a recruiter. Certainly what I would do. And get rid of these estates while still maintaining good draw and economy. Interesting, going with the Den of Sin. I don't love it. I do love Dens of Sins, don't get me wrong. Wait, that sounds weird. They both go for that instead of the recruiter. I definitely think it's still a good idea to thin. In fact, in most times in life, it's still a good idea to thin. But now, since you're on the Den of Sin train, you might as well keep going with the Dens of Sins until you get all those colonnade points gone. I still would love to see a recruiter. Maybe it's okay. Um, BSplitt's going to at least hit 5 again. Definitely investing in a capital is good. Oh! Oh! Dens of Sin does not count for colonnade points. Oh, those colonnade points might be put on the back burner. At least until the Den of Sin pile is gone. I still think, obviously, with these 2 estates in hand, Recruiter is very, very good. I mean, yeah, it's good. I mean, there's not much to say. Recruiter is needed for doing what you want to do with this board. Den of Sin is not bad, so really can't go wrong. But I would definitely have bought a recruiter before going in on the Dens of Sins. And there's the recruiter play. Nice. The recruiter will also clean up this moneylender eventually after it's lent all the money it can. So you do have to be a little bit wary of economy here, but that's where the capital is going to come in. BSplitt unfortunately does not get the... Okay. Starting to run low on economy. Oh, BSplitt bought a gold. Yeah, gold's okay, but capital's better. Capital is just and specifically capital is better because of the plus buy. Debt is a ooh, yep, SJA saw it. Nice. So not too terrible for BSplitt. Gets to trash an estate here. Unfortunately only hits 4. Could consider a fishing village to get some colonnade points. I don't love it. I would prefer an advisor or a cargo ship, but I understand because of those sweet, sweet colonnade points. That being said, the order in which BSplitt has executed this is kind of throwing him off by getting the Dens of Sins before the recruiters. I don't love Devil's Workshop. Okay, what is the best case scenario? You get a free fishing village that doesn't give you colonnade points? No, I don't like Devil's Workshop here. Uh, no. DW is very strong in a lot of boards, but not this one. So SJA could be considering 2 Dens of Sins here and completely skipping the recruiter. That's a gold and a fishing village for those colonnade points. All right. BSplitt again is limited by the fact that he only has 1 buy. Probably should definitely invest in a capital soon. Probably I would invest in a capital right now. Because, and this is true, plus buy is good. Oh, chooses to buy a gold. I just don't like it. I mean, so BSplitt's going to end up with a very consistent deck for the most part that will consistently be able to buy a province. But SJA is going to be able to double province at some point, and when he double provinces, or she, um, they're basically going to win the game at that point. See, look at that, 13 money and 1 buy. That gold, that second gold, that's making it from 10 to 13, could have been a capital, where then you could just split up the money, but you can't split up the money. So what's he going to do? Is it now the turn that he buys a capital? And if that's the case, then he could have had a gold. He could have played the capital instead of the gold, and been able to buy a gold and a province this turn. So, and then you would get an imp from the Devil's Workshop. Yeah, so I just buys a province, gets a farmer's market. Does farmer's market get plus buy? Okay, so at least he's invested in some plus buy, but did not get to play of Den of Sin, is in for a terrible, terrible draw next turn. The only thing that's keeping BSplitt in this game, and why I'm not saying that it's been decided yet, is because SJA has not trashed his province, or excuse me, his estates, so he doesn't have a consistent deck. That being said, I now expect both players to be finished with their deck building stage. Oh, there's that. See, it's going to end up being a double. Really would have considered buying another Den of Sin there instead of a gold. So he's already, again, it's those price breakpoints. So you already were hitting 16 with your capital. So the next breakpoint is 24. Well, how are you going to get there? It's not by having an extra gold in your hand. It's by having more cards in your hand. Anyway, so yeah. BSplitt now going the alternate VP route of farmers markets. Okay, I guess. But I think if BSplitt continues down that path, I'm going to favor SJA more. Finally, BSplitt is getting some more draw, and draw is good. Plus buy is good. This is such a powerful board for double and triple provincing. Um, Here, SJA might consider double provincing. Oh, it did not seem to draw the... Oh, there's the capital. Yeah, double provincing looks good. It only leaves him with 3 debt. But I could see province Den of Sin. Again, SJA needs to get... So BSplitt needed to get the plus buy sooner. SJA needs to get his draw up. Um, we'll see what happens here. BSplitt has 5. Doesn't have a lot of good options. Finally invest in the capital, which is good, but now he's cluttered his deck with all these farmers markets. He just and Devil's Workshops or other miscellaneous things that he just doesn't have draw. Dang. Oh, okay. 2 VP from Colonnade. That's fine. Draw is good. Well, this will be interesting. Whatever SJA denies isn't going to hurt that much. BSplitt is going to be able to play both farmers markets and a moneylender, which is good. Yep, and not have enough to double, unfortunately. But definitely could buy a province and a Denison. Can SJA triple? No, that's impossible because he has 2 gains. But if SJA doubles again, BSplitt has to get 3 of these next. 3 of these last 4 provinces. It doesn't look likely. So again, I'm favoring SJA here, as I don't know how long ago that started happening. What was the turning point in this game? The turning point in this game was not investing in the capital and buying that gold. That turn that they had 6, that BSplitt had 6, and didn't invest in capital, was the turn I really started favoring SmoothJimmyApollo. Yeah, I guess BSplitt needs to get 2 of the last provinces. Because of those colonnade points. Advisor. See, there I might have considered playing the recruiter first, because if you got 2 really good cards that you didn't want to trash, you could have trashed the fishing village. It's basically a copper at this point. Here I would expect probably the gold's going to be denied, but the farmer's market probably should be denied. Ah, I like it. I like it a lot. So this is where BSplitt has to worry about playing the recruiter, whereas if he kept the fishing village, he wouldn't have to worry about it. So let's see what BSplitt decides to do. Yep, he's too scared to play the recruiter, which I understand. Does get him into province range, but he can't buy a province right now. 9 is not enough to doubled anything, so I would expect BSplitt to buy a duchy and could perhaps play the gold and buy an advisor as well. But SJA is just a few good draws away from double provincing. Um, yeah, you have to buy the duchy here. And then it's just a question of what else do you want to buy. I think it was really good from SJA to deny the farmer's market. But because that farmer's market is about to be 4 coins, you do have to worry a little bit about if BSplitt could play a farmer's market and buy a province if you're SJA. Oh, wow, that must have been a terrible draw for SJA to not even buy an estate. If they did have enough to buy an estate there, they desperately needed to buy an estate. But here BSplitt only hits 4, which is not great. This could probably be an advisor or an estate or a farmer's market. Um, really, anything that's not a cargo ship. Yeah, estate's fine. 2 estates is great. Okay, there's some potential for BSplitt here, but let's see what SJA does. Unfortunately, yeah, all those fishing villages are good, but you don't have any terminals, and you don't have any draw except for Den of Sin. And so you can't buy a province here. So this has to be a duchy. So I did favor SJA, so where did it go differently for him? Well, I think the lack of draw that SJA invested in, which again, SJA's entire draw in their entire deck is 3 Dens of Sin, which net gain you 1 card each. So his net draw is 3 cards in a 17 card deck, which was fine when he was super thin, but now that he's not super thin, it's not useful. It's not particularly useful. Um, so here, unfortunately, BSplitt hits 7. Oh no, he hits 8. So that's why you don't be afraid of the debt and capital, because you never have to pay it off if the game's over, and BSplitt has won the game. Well, that was good for BSplitt. He definitely was behind, and then the farmers markets eventually paid off for him. Both players could have benefited from more draw. Definitely BSplitt was good um, to eventually get plus buy. And yeah, BSplitt, that last game was really, really insane. This game was good adaptation from BSplitt. I can't really, because SJA doesn't have the cards visible, I can't tell in the decision making process where SJA could have gone differently. I think the overall strategy was pretty good. I just would have wanted a little bit more draw, but I liked the investment in capital. I liked what SJA was doing. So definitely well played by both players in that last game. SJA should have won the game before that. Oh, this is an incredible trash the gold by BSplitt. Definitely fun to commentate. Thank you all for watching, hanging in there. I've enjoyed it. Best of luck to the rest of these players as they finish off these games. And we will see you then. Unless they're about to play.